We can start now.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Dr. Veena Venkatesh from Ajanta Pharma Limited, working as General Manager, Medical Services. On the behalf of Ajanta, I take this opportunity to welcome all the delegates for this scientific forum. Ajanta Pharma is one of the top pharmaceutical companies in the cardiology segment and is known for bringing innovative formulations for the first time in India. Today's scientific session would be azilnidipine, a novel calcium channel blocker beyond hypertension. I am privileged to introduce the faculty for today's session. We have with us Dr. A.K. Pancholia. He is MD and fellow with several colleges like Fellow of American College of Cardiology, Fellow of European Society of Cardiology, FCSI. He is a cardiologist at Indore. He is the recipient of DC Rao Award for Madhya Pradesh IMA, Excellence Award for Preventive Cardiology by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He would be our moderator. We have Dr. Ajay Sharma. He is MD DM cardiologist at Bhopal. Also, he is fellow of European Society of Cardiology. He is affiliated to Gandhi Medical College, Bhopal. And we have with us the panelist, Dr. D.S. Baharani. He is MD, PhD in medicine, physician and cardiologist, Jabalpur Hospital and Research Center, Jabalpur. And I would request all the delegates to please put your questions in the chat box. With this brief introduction of the faculty, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. A.K. Pancholia. Sir, please take over the session.
Thank you very much and good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to this important webinar, which will be focusing on a new calcium channel blocker, azilnidipine. And I'm thankful to Ajanta Pharma for organizing such a good program. As you know, hypertension is an important cardiovascular risk factor with a rising prevalence all across the globe as well as in our country, with a high morbidity and mortality. And calcium channel blockers are the important molecules in the therapeutic armamentarium of management of hypertension, and it is considered to be class 1 recommendation, particularly in elderly population. It is also recommended in combination with RAS blockers as a first-line therapy, particularly in stage 2 hypertension. Amlodipine, as you know, is a mother molecule, but it is not devoid of certain limitations of pedal edema, limitations of increased heart rate, limitation of reflex tachycardia, and limitation of proteinuria. So to overcome all these limitations, newer calcium channel blockers have been introduced, targeting the different calcium channels like L, N, and T channels, and having all the beneficial effects. One of this molecule recently been introduced in India is azilnidipine, which is actually introduced in India right now, but it has been introduced in 2003 in Japan already. And the data clearly showed, with the comparison with amlodipine, it showed several beneficial effects of overcome the problem of proteinuria, reflex tachycardia, and increased heart rate, so having all cardioprotective effects. Apart from that, it has pleiotropic effects also beyond the blood pressure reduction. So all these issues will be discussed further in detail by our next speaker, Dr. Ajay Sharma from Bhopal. He is a MD and intervention cardiologist in the Medical College Bhopal. So I will request Dr. Sharma to deliver his talk on this new calcium channel blocker, azilnidipine.
Thank you, sir. I would be brief on azilnidipine. Right now, it has not been frequently used in our setup. Most of the time, as Dr. Pancholia said, the mother molecule is amlodipine. And amlodipine is used all over India, and even by general practitioners, it is being used quite commonly, and one of the most important drug as calcium channel blocker, which has been used by our general practitioners and even physicians and cardiologists. Now, one more important molecule. My slides are visible to you all? Yeah. So one more important molecule, that is a conventional, I would not say conventional, but this is a third generation dihydropyridine calcium channel blocker agilnidipine. We'll go through the details of it so that we will know the advantages, disadvantages, advantages over amlodipine, cilnidipine, and whether it can be used apart from amlodipine as our primarily conventional anti-hypertensive agent. We'll go through the drug profile of agilnidipine, its cardio, nephro, and diabetic perspective, and the salient features which has and its importance and its advantages over amlodipine. As we know, hypertension is a silent killer. Main factors that contribute to high blood pressures are social determinants, behavioral risk factors, metabolic risk factors. We all know that rampant globalization, urbanization, even increased age, mortality has increased. So the age, we are now seeing many elderly patients nowadays. Socioeconomic profile, education, all this contributes to high blood pressure. Behavioral risk factors which contribute to hypertension are unhealthy diet, increased use of tobacco, physical inactivity, and use of alcohol beyond moderation. Similarly, there are metabolic risk factors which are due to societal changes, which includes obesity, diabetes, and hyperlipidemia. All this leads to increased blood pressure or hypertension, which ultimately leads to heart attacks, cerebrovascular accidents, heart failure, and even nephropathies. As we know that BP category, stage 1, stage 2, this has been classified separately by ACC, AHA, European Society, and JNC as well. Primarily, our goal should be that BP should be less than systolic, less than 130, and diastolic less than 80 millimeters of mercury, whatever the molecule we are using. Though the definition of hypertension differs in European Society of Cardiology as well as ACC. ESC says more than 140/90 is you are hypertensive. ACC says now even if you are more than 130/80, you are hypertensive. But again, what I am stressing is the goal is same. It should be less than 130/80. So these are the calcium channel blockers, which we already know: nifedipine, amlodipine, cilnidipine. These have been used quite commonly in our setup. But agilnidipine has just been launched, though it has been produced in 2003, but in India it has just been launched. We need to see its safety profile, drug profile, as well as the uses. Basically, nifedipine is L-type of calcium channel blocker. Amlodipine is again L-type of calcium channel blocker, whereas cilnidipine blockage occurs both in L and N-type of receptor. Important for agilnidipine is that it blocks L-type of calcium channel blockers in vascular smooth muscle and T-type of calcium channel blockers in our myocardium. So basically, what happens if a particular calcium channel blocker blocks L-type of receptor, it leads to decrease in contractility, but increase in pulse rate and increase in glomerular pressure, which happens with mostly amlodipine. Whereas if a calcium channel blocker, which has L-type of affinity as well as T-type of affinity, then because of its T-type of affinity, it leads to decrease in heart rate. That is very important. Decrease in pulse rate, and as well as the effect on afferent and efferent arteriole, leading to decrease in glomerular pressure as well as decreased chances of nephropathy. And it has additional effect on adrenals as well, which leads to decrease in aldosterone secretion. Chemical structure, there is nothing new. It's a new dihydropyridine calcium channel antagonist, and it is a T and L type of calcium channel blocker. So if we go into the mechanism of action of this particular molecule, it blocks L type of calcium channel in blood vessels and T type of calcium channel in heart. Hence, it results in vasodilatation and reduced heart rate. Important point which differentiate it from amlodipine is it has 17-fold higher lipophilicity than amlodipine. In fact, it is more lipophilic than cilnidipine as well. When it blocks T-type of calcium channel present on zona glomerulosa, it leads to decrease in the aldosterone synthesis and release as well. And when it blocks on SA node, when it acts on SA node, T type of particularly calcium channel activation it inhibits, then it leads to prolongation of late phase 4 depolarization and hence decrease in heart rate. Hence, the effect on glomerulus are, it offers renoprotective effect by dilating afferent and efferent arterioles as well as by reducing intraglomerular pressure. Again, stressing that these effects are not visible with amlodipine. Pharmacokinetic profile, its protein binding rate is almost 90%. It starts showing its effect within 3 to 3.5 hours. Its terminal half-life is around 19.2 hours. And main metabolism of action is through first pass hepatic metabolism. Hence, 63% metabolism excretion is through feces and 26% in urine. The doses, usually prescribed dose of agelnitipine is 16 mg, but in elderly, the starting dose is 8 mg. It has been approved by Drug Control of India, but as of now, it has not been approved by FDA. And sole indication for agelnitipine as of now is for essential hypertension. And if we go into the specific population where it can be used or cannot be used, so particularly with severe hepatic and renal impairment, efficacy has not been established. Similarly, in pediatric use, efficacy has not been established. Elderly, as I already told, low dose like 8 mg once daily is recommended. And for nursing mother and pregnancy, it is not recommended at all. Contraindication, again, if there is hypersensitivity to any of its ingredient, then this drug is contraindicated. It is contraindicated in pregnant and nursing women. And if you are giving alongside administration of systemic antifungal agent, fluconazole or HIV protease inhibitor, then these drugs inhibit cytochrome P450 and increase the concentration of agelnitipine in body, and the drug profile and the concentration of the drug becomes unpredictable with these drugs. So these drugs should possibly be avoided with agelnitipine. There, like many studies have come up, particularly these are the preclinical studies which have proven its negative chronotropic effect. It inhibits aldosterone synthesis and secretion. It dilates efferent and afferent arterioles, and it preserves insulin signaling and glucose uptake. Now we'll go into the clinical evidences which are present as of now, and which advocates agelnitipine over amlodipine, cilnidipine, or other drugs. Primarily, studies have been done in Japan and China. Most of the studies with agelnitipine has been done in Japan and China. So this is the study number 1, which is at-home study, which documented sustained blood pressure lowering effect of agelnitipine by self-measured morning and evening home blood pressure. Its objective is to evaluate the sustained blood pressure lowering effect of agelnitipine using mean morning and evening systolic blood pressure. Efficacy and safety analysis were done, and you can see in this graph that changes in morning and evening home pulse rate and changes in morning and evening home blood pressure is very significant with agelnitipine treatment. Even the effect starts within 4 to 6 weeks of the start of the treatment. If you see this, study, there has been improvement in patient distribution, and significantly, morning predominant hypertension is quite drastically reduced with agelnitipine. Hence, the take-away message from this study was that there has been significant reduction in home systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure. And one of the most important point is the blood pressure lowering effect of this drug lasted till morning of the next day. Hence, it is useful for patients with early morning hypertension, with early morning surge of blood pressure, who are at high risk of cardiovascular events and cerebrovascular events. Second study, again, this was taken in China, and it shows the inhibitory effects of agelnitipine on morning hypertension. Again, if you see the graph, then you can very well see that there is significant change in blood pressure as well as significant change in heart rate particularly after 4 weeks, and hence agelinadipine offered significant reduction in morning blood pressure and heart rate within 4 weeks of onset of the treatment. If we important, as we know that amlodipine is the mother molecule as calcium channel blocker and has been used right and left frequently. We need to compare it with amlodipine to document what are the benefits of agelinadipine over amlodipine. Hence, a comparison of their pharmacokinetics and effects on ambulatory blood pressure monitoring was done in this trial. This was a randomized double-blind study in which agelinadipine 16 mg was given vis-a-vis amlodipine 5 mg for 6 weeks. Here you can see that both drugs offered significant 24-hour blood pressure reduction and have similar antihypertensive effect. However, agelinadipine decreased pulse rate as well, whereas amlodipine does not have a significant increase, or more or less it's almost same, pulse rate is same. It does not lead to decrease in pulse rate. Again, this is a randomized double-blind clinical trial in Chinese patient in which 220 patients were taken into study, and efficacy of effects of and side effects and efficacy of amlodipine and agelinadipine were compared. Here again, this particular Chinese study documented that agelinadipine has significantly reduced blood pressure control over amlodipine, apart from decrease in heart rate and other benefits as well. So, meta-analysis was undertaken in China for the clinical use of agelinadipine in treatment of hypertension, where it was found that there has been significant reduction in blood pressure, mild to moderate hypertension particularly, which is similar to amlodipine and nifedipine. However, added benefits were with agelinadipine showed cardiovascular protective effects, antioxidative action, reduction in heart rate, and improved systolic and diastolic function. Agelinadipine was well tolerated and no significant severe adverse events were observed. However, 2 or 3 patients reported pedal edema. Now, the effect of agelinadipine and amlodipine were compared on LV mass and longitudinal function in hypertensive patients with left ventricular hypertrophy. Here, LV function and morphology was examined by conventional and speckle tracking echocardiography at baseline and at 1, 3, 6, and 12 months after treatment initiation. The drug was 5 mg amlodipine compared with 16 mg of agelinadipine. It was clearly shown in this study that global longitudinal strain had improved by 3 months of treatment, which further leads to regression of LVH at 12 months. But this was observed in both amlodipine as well as agelinadipine. Now, agelinadipine was combined with olmesartan, and as well as olmesartan was combined with amlodipine, and the effect was observed on central blood pressure and LV mass index. This was the IOTA study, where effects of olmesartan when combined with either agelinadipine patients were randomly assigned to fixed dose therapy with agelinadipine or amlodipine after initiation of olmesartan monotherapy for 12 weeks. Further, these drugs were added for 12 more weeks, that is for 3 months. And central blood pressure and LV mass index were measured at baseline and at the end of the study. Here you can clearly see that changes in central blood pressure and LV mass index was significantly more with combination of olmesartan and agelinadipine. And agelinadipine also led to significantly greater reduction in heart rate compared with olmesartan and amlodipine combination. There have been one study was undertaken for a study of effect of agelinadipine on reflex tachycardia, and when patients were treated for almost a year, where agelinadipine definitely significantly reduced blood pressure and its use was not associated with reflex tachycardia. Now we'll go into the clinical evidences where agelinadipine has important kidney protective effects. Agelinadipine reduces urinary protein excretion as well as urinary liver type fatty acid binding protein in patients with hypertensive chronic kidney disease. This was a randomized study, and here it was found, I'll go in short, that agelinadipine and amlodipine both have profound similar effect on systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Agelinadipine has additive reduction in heart rate, but important was that agelinadipine was found to offer significant reduction in urinary protein excretion. Amlodipine was ineffective in reducing urinary protein excretion. So conclusion from this study was that agelinadipine ameliorated markers of glomerular and tubular interstitial injury in hypertensive patients with chronic kidney disease. Agelinadipine, but not amlodipine, has potent antioxidant effect, and therefore it provided additive renoprotective clinical benefit in addition to long-lasting antihypertensive action. Amlodipine effect of agelinadipine on uric acid metabolism was also seen in patients with essential hypertension, and it was found that it significantly reduced to decrease in serum uric acid level as well, whereas amlodipine has no effect on serum uric acid. Now coming to the diabetic perspective and the benefit in diabetic patient with agelinadipine compared to other calcium channel blocker. Here in this study, agelinadipine and amlodipine were compared on glucose tolerance and endothelial function. This was the AGENT trial where patients were either subjected to 16 mg of agelinadipine or 5 mg of amlodipine, which was a crossover design for 3 months. At baseline and at the end of each calcium channel blocker therapy, oral GTT was performed. And here again, it was seen that agelinadipine treatment has beneficial effect against glucose intolerance, insulin insensitivity, inflammatory state in non-diabetic patient as well as diabetic patient with hypertension. The role of, efficacy of agelinadipine and amlodipine on diabetic nephropathy and atherosclerosis were compared. Treatment duration was for 32 weeks, where change in blood pressure and heart rate in diabetic nephropathy patients who were either given amlodipine and agelinadipine were compared in both two studies. It was found that reduction in blood pressure was similar across both groups. However, agelinadipine offered added significant reduction in heart rate than amlodipine. So one of the points that stands out clearly is that agelinadipine has significant reduction in heart rate compared to amlodipine. Here in both two study, it was also seen that agelinadipine offered significant reduction in urinary albumin excretion. However, amlodipine was not effective. In both two study, carotid intima media thickness and inflammatory markers were also studied, particularly MCP1, TNF alpha, and it was found that agelinadipine offered significant reduction in maximum intima media thickness, significant reduction in TNF alpha, and significant reduction in monocyte chemoattractant protein compared to amlodipine. And it leads to agelinadipine, but not amlodipine, delayed the progression of urinary albumin excretion and carotid atherosclerosis. Changes in LV relaxation after agelinadipine treatment in hypertension patient with diabetes. It was a subgroup analysis, and it was found that agelinadipine improved LV relaxation in both groups, diabetic and in diabetic and non-diabetic. Both group LV relaxation was improved with agelinadipine. If we come to the salient features now, so we can see looking across all studies, though the studies are limited and mostly in Japanese and Chinese patients, but agelinadipine offers 24 hours smooth, gradual and prolonged BP control, including double-digit blood pressure control. It has superior sympathetic nerve activity reduction compared to amlodipine. So we can safely say that this is a sympathomodulating calcium channel blocker. It reduces proteinuria, reduces glomerular hypertension. So it is quite effective in chronic kidney disease patients. It does exhibit antioxidant property, improves endothelial function and arterial stiffness, but longer double-blind trials are needed to document this particular effects. One study has demonstrated reduction in beta type natriuretic peptide, hence can be beneficial in improving prognosis of heart failure patients. It preserves insulin signaling. It reduces serum uric acid in hypertensive patient with hyperuricemia. It exhibits definitely cardioprotection, neuroprotection, and renal protection, and there is lesser incidences of pedal edema. This drug has been very well tolerated with very few side effects noted. Henceforth, if we'll see if all these slides, we can definitely see that it has got tremendous potency, tremendous use. We can with long term, with our own experience in Indian setup, we can see that whether this drug is more effective than amlodipine or at least as effective as amlodipine. Only time with long double-blind trials, even in Indian patient, will get to know the effectiveness of this drug more. But however, overall, if we see, this is very effective drug, and maybe in the times to come, it will be as beneficial than as amlodipine is. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for nicely summarizing the various aspects of this new calcium channel blocker ezilnedipine, from its pharmacokinetics to pharmacodynamics, clinical effects, and several pleiotropic effects which we observed in the several trials, and superiority over amlodipine molecule. So thank you very much. Now, before we take opinion from our expert panel, Dr. Deepak Behrani, and before we take on the question and answers, I would like to add on few more things what Dr. Sharma already said. In one of the trials, they showed improvement in the renal sympathetic activity in heart failure patients. In another trial, it showed increase in the vasorelaxation of the internal memory artery, so that might be useful in the post-CABG patients. Anti-atherosclerotic effects have already also been observed in the ELPS-J trial. It also attenuates the liver fibrosis in one of the trial because of its antioxidants and anti-inflammatory effects. And it also does not reduce the cerebral blood flow when the ezilnedipine is used as antihypertensive in the post-ischemic stroke patients. So it does not reduces the cerebral blood flow. So that's also has been observed in the IMP-SPEC trial. So there are several more effects which have been observed in the newer trials with the ezilnedipine. Now, as Dr. Deepak Behrani joined us.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Deepak, nice to see you. Dr. Sharma has pointed out in one of the trial of the improvement in the glucose tolerance, reduction in the insulin resistance, improved insulin sensitivity. What's the basic mechanism behind it of the ezilnedipine improving the glucose tolerance?
Yeah, very good question. The trials have revealed that it improves the signaling pathway of the insulin, and it improves the glucose tolerance in the patients of diabetes and non-diabetic, both the groups. It reduces the HOMA-IR, the levels of the HOMA-IR also. It reduces the insulin resistance index also. So it improves the insulin sensitization in the diabetic patients. And the baseline insulin level were also less and more glucose utilization was there.
So is it all because of its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant property?
No, perhaps it is because of some calcium channel pathway.
Okay. So we'll take on certain questions from the audience. I think any question in the chat box?
Yeah, there was a question, does this causes the bradycardia significant? So I don't think it causes the significant bradycardia, because the trial have shown that it reduces the heart rate by 4-5 beats. It never went down below 68 or 65. So there was no very disturbing bradycardia, only 5 to 7 beats were reduced.
Okay, in the study they showed the reduction in the heart rate by around 2 beats per minute, and there is increase in the heart rate by 4 beats per minute with amlodipine.
With the amlodipine. But the
Yes,
data
so
they
there
have
is no.
shown the lowest heart rate recorded was 68 in the trials.
Yes. Now my question to Dr. Sharma, any comparative study with newer calcium channel blockers like cilnidipine, like benidipine?
So with cilnidipine, it has not yet been done. Definitely, as of now, if we see, most of the time cilnidipine is used. Even if we see amlodipine, cilnidipine is rather used more frequently. But the type of receptors, if we see, it acts on L and T type of receptor. Agilnitipine and cilnidipine acts on L and N type of receptors. So definitely, if we see vis-a-vis heart rate reduction, that will always be with agilnitipine, not with cilnidipine. But we need to have certain more trials, randomized trials, double-blind trials. Only then we'll see the beneficial effects compared to cilnidipine as well.
There was a crossover trial from the cilnidipine to the agilnitipine in the patients of the preserved heart failure, patient with normal EF. And it has shown that it reduces the BNP from 250 to 120. And it reduces the cardiac sympathetic activity by the cardiac scintigraphy, they have shown. So they show that it is superior drug, agilnitipine is superior drug as compared to cilnidipine when the heart failure with preserved EF is considered. And cilnidipine does not inhibit the aldosterone synthesis by inhibiting the T channels in the zona glomerulosa. That is a unique action of this agilnitipine. So though the studies say the cilnidipine and the agilnitipine, they are equally effective, but agilnitipine has some better profile when we see the heart failure with preserved ejection fraction when the cardiac sympathetic activity is concerned. Cilnidipine reduces the peripheral sympathetic activity. Agilnitipine reduces the central sympathetic activity from the ventromedial part of the medulla, and which is more effective in reduction in the catecholamines and adrenergic drives and noradrenaline levels were shown in some trials when they have compared the cilnidipine and the agilnitipine. Though both are good drugs, but this is slightly better.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Deepak. In one of the study with the cilnidipine, they actually focused on the aortic stiffness, and they showed a substantial reduction in the aortic stiffness with agilnitipine, not with cilnidipine. So, as aortic stiffness is an important marker for the remodeling, so I think it will be much useful in patients with the heart failure.
Yeah, because of the strong antioxidant effects and because of the strong sympathetic down regulation, this endothelial dysfunction and the arterial stiffness is very well controlled with the agilnitipine.
There is one more trial with the compared with the benidipine, and they found that actually they are focusing on the autonomic function. So that autonomic functions have been improved with the agilnitipine, not with benidipine.
Yeah, not with the benidipine.
So any question in the chat box?
Yeah, there was one question. I'll let you know. The question was, Dr. Ashok Khanna has asked, till what level of serum creatinine can agilnitipine be used?
Yes.
It is not indicated for the severe renal impairment. Mild to moderate we can use.
Yeah, mild to moderate we can use, but not in severe. Like as in amlodipine, we can use in CKD patients. This drug can also be used.
Another question.
Okay, one more question was asked by Dr. Ashish Dengra. Does it require more studies before we start using agilnitipine in place of amlodipine?
The agilnitipine has been approved in the Asian people for more than 10 to 13 years. There are more than 5,000 patients observation in this group. So we have got enough data to say that this is a superior molecule than the amlodipine. We also think that why we should go for the new molecule, because the amlodipine causes BP reduction only, but it causes reflex tachycardia, which is not good for the cardiac patients. And the amlodipine does not reduce the proteinuria. So most of the patients are having hypertension with early kidney disease also. So to provide the nephroprotection, cardioprotection, we should switch from amlodipine to azithromycin because it is well-studied molecule. It is launched in 2003 in the Japan and the China, and there are so many studies, more than 5,000 patients observation for the 10 years, more than 10 years.
Okay. My question to Dr. Sharma is our nephro friends, they are more fond of using calcium channel blockers.
Yeah.
Now, as azithromycin showing a renoprotective effect also, so
Yes.
are they going to change their practice and shifting to azithromycin instead of other calcium channel blockers?
Yes, sir. If you see clearly, the studies are documented definite and quite remarkable renoprotective effect with azithromycin. So in the times to come, definitely switchover would be from amlodipine to azithromycin even in renal patients. However, as I already told, these studies have done in Chinese and Japanese patients. Though their genetics more or less will be same as us, but we need certain more Indian trials before we fully document on this and can use it. But Japan and China, definitely they are using it in CKD patients.
Okay. There are a couple of questions from the audience. How much is the preferred dose in Indian population?
8 mg is the initial dosage and 16 mg is the maximum dose.
Any clinical experience in BP reduction with azithromycin? Have you tried, Dr. Sharma and Dr. Berani?
In 1 or 2
Yeah,
patients, and we will get the follow-up later. We have given.
I tried in some, but I started with 16 mg. In elderly patients who are more than 70 years of age, I have given 8 mg. But as Dr. Deepak Bhairani said, it's like beginning. We need to see the response in our setup, in our experience. Then only we can definitely say the benefits of it and how beneficial this is compared to amlodipine.
Yes, very true. And now there is an important question which I was also expecting about the pedal edema. Pedal edema with azithromycin. Any study showing the side effects as a pedal edema? How much percentage
Pedal
of the
edema was observed only in 4 patients out of 2,500 patients studied. They have
Yes,
taken
very
only
small.
4 patients. They have shown the pedal edema out of 2,500.
There is not significant pedal edema compared to amlodipine. It's more or less same.
And how far it is better than efnodipine?
Sorry?
Efnodipine.
Eflodipine, like again, the sympathomodulating effect on heart rate, renoprotective effects are not with eflodipine. So antihypertensive effect wise, maybe it's more or less same as amlodipine or eflodipine, but there are added benefits with azithromycin, which are not present in even cilnidipine or eflodipine.
And same thing comparison with cilnidipine, any cardiac outcome as compared to cilnidipine? Is it better so far cardiac outcome is concerned?
Cardiac outcome, one study Dr. Deepak Bhairani quoted in which definitely along patient with preserved renal heart function, it was found to be beneficial compared to cilnidipine. But I have not gone through many studies in which vis-a-vis cilnidipine and azithromycin have been compared, particularly in heart failure patients.
But one study which showing a reduction in the aortic stiffness, I think it will be more helpful in the cardiac patients.
Yes, definitely.
I think there are no more questions after this. And we also observed a reduction in the markers of the renal dysfunction. This FABP as well as OHDP, so that also reduces.
Yeah.
Rather and when compared with amlodipine, that increases the markers rather than reducing. So it's definitely more renoprotective compared to amlodipine.
Yeah. These are the newer biomarker for the renal injury.
Yes.
Which were reduced in azithromycin group as compared to amlodipine.
Yes, true. And apart from so far as the cardioprotective effects, this left and this LV relaxation has been improved. Left ventricular mass index, which is also one of the marker for the heart failure, be reduced. A marker for the heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. So it is beneficial all the way.
Yeah, it affects the LV mass reduction. It causes the reduction in the longitudinal strain of the LV. It reduces the
Yes.
LV diastolic dysfunction, systolic dysfunction. So it is reducing the morning surge of the blood pressure. It will reduce the stroke. It reduces the acute MI in the morning, which are happening because of the adrenergic drive in the early hours.
Yes, and the at-home study clearly showed as the reduction in the systolic and diastolic blood pressure morning and evening. So attenuation of the nocturnal non-dipping and attenuation of the early morning surge. These are most important factors for the cardiovascular and cerebrovascular events.
It is good for diabetics. It is good for CKD patients. It is good for the normal hypertensive with uncomplicated. It is good for sustained hypertension patients. It is good for essential hypertension patients. So many groups of the patient can be given this drug. Diabetic also, non-diabetic also.
Yes, true. So, should I summarize it at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we had a very good discussion on this new calcium channel blocker, azilnitidine. And I would like to just summarize that it's a new CCB on the board with reduction in the blood pressure, with no increase in heart rate, no reflex tachycardia, well control of the morning, evening systolic and diastolic blood pressure, the good attenuation of the nocturnal non-dipping and attenuation of the early morning surge, causes dilatation of the efferent arteriole of the efferent arteriole, and therefore it causes reduction in proteinuria, which is not so observed with amlodipine. Reduction in the left ventricular mass index, therefore it is quite useful in CHD and heart failure patients. It improves LV relaxation, and also it reduces the marker of the renal dysfunction, what is called the 8-OH-DG and the FABP. So markers also reduced. So is a highly renoprotective as well as cardioprotective molecule. So with that, I thank you, all of you. I'm thankful to Dr. Sharma for the brilliant presentation. I am thankful to Dr. Bairani for, hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm thankful, yes, I'm thankful to Dr. Bairani for his quite good opinion and its active participation during discussion. And I am thankful to Ajanta Pharma for bringing out this important webinar for all of us regarding the new molecule, this new calcium channel blocker, azilnitidine, which is now introduced into India, and probably in due course of time when we start using in the clinical practice, we might see better effects, and we'll come to know about this molecule in a better way. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, sir, also for being a leader in this field.
Thank you.
So if there are no questions, then I would like to close the session.
Any comments from Madam Yu?
Sir?
Do you want to add on something?
Sir, the Indian trial, the phase 3 trial, which we have conducted for the DCGI registration purpose, where we have done the randomized double-blind control study with the azilnitidine, that's 16 milligram versus amlodipine 10 milligrams. So that's what, like most of the trials what we have published, it's with the 5 milligram of amlodipine. This is with the 16 milligram versus 10 milligram, where the parameters like systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, and all this was done along with the pulse rate monitoring. So what I can say is that the azilnitidine, it's like it's a non-inferior to 10 milligram of amlodipine in the study what we have found out. That's what just wanted to brief on this. This was done for the registration purpose for the DCGI.
Thank you.
So with this, I think we can close the session, sir. Like on the behalf of Ajanta, I thank Dr. Ajay Sharma for his wonderful talk on azilnitidine. I would like to express thanks to Dr. Pancholia sir for moderating this session very well and wonderfully handling the question answer session. At the end, you have summarized the molecules so well so that it's the take home message was very clear. Whereas azilidipine, not only as an antihypertensive drug, it has much more than that in terms of pleiotropic benefits. And you also mentioned the group of patients, even Dr. Behrani also, Dr. Deepak Behrani, our panelist, we express thanks to you, sir, for valuable inputs for the discussion while summarizing the molecule again. And you have also told which group of patients this molecule is beneficial, not only in hypertension, but hypertension with diabetes and in CKD patients and all. Thank you very much, all of you, sir, for this an excellent interactive session. I extend thanks to all the delegates who are the part of this session. And I thank our HO team, head office team, PMT team, technical team, and our field force for making this session a successful one. I thank one and all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
And
Thank you, sir.
and happy weekend.